Here I am on the road again. Lyrics from Metallica's Turn the Page came to my mind when I started recording today's video, because we're on the road again. And today we're heading to the westernmost town in the Knox County. Whoops. Sorry officer, I got distracted. I'm not gonna do it again, promise. So where was I? Yeah, the westernmost town in all of Knox County. The town of Ekron. Ekron, just as the other two towns introduced as part of the Build 42 update, is modeled after a real-life town of Ekron. Now, the game version of Ekron is a bit more modernized and larger than the actual Ekron. The key points of interest, however, are pretty much the same, like the community center, which is reflecting the location of the actual Ekron's elementary school. As already mentioned, Ekron is the westernmost town in Knox County, and the easiest way to get there is to start in Echo Creek and just approach the town from the east, which is exactly what I'm gonna do in today's video. Ekron is a medium-sized town with several residential and commercial areas, and it's split straight down the middle by a railroad going vertically straight through the center of town. This railroad splits the town into two separate sections, the east and the west side. We're going to explore the east side first. Right at the very eastern edge of the town, you can see this building on the left side of my character. That is the Ekron Community Center, which is a reflection of the real-life Ekron Elementary School, and it's probably one of the most, if not the most interesting building in the entire town. And what makes Ekron's community center such an interesting building to visit? Well, the secret is on the first floor. Now, the trick is obviously getting to the first floor, because as you can see, this whole place has this anthill vibe, full of zomboids. But once you manage to actually get there, you will reach the single largest library outside of Louisville. Just look at it. Look at the amount of bookshelves in this room. Now, we all know books and magazines are one of the most rare and coveted items that most of us look for constantly while playing Zomboid, so I would suggest this location is your go-to spot. Now, that's not the only thing that makes this community center so cool. I mean, obviously this is also kind of a school, so it has tons of lockers. Those lockers can have CD players, handheld video games, all of these things that can help you level up your electrical skill, for example. So definitely top tier location, and probably the most important one in all of Ekron. Right across the street from the community center, behind this large fence, you will find probably the largest fire station in all of Knox County. Again, outside of Louisville, talking about only the towns which are not Louisville. Louisville is a completely different beast. And I'm pretty sure the first thing that catches your eye is the amount of zomboids in these areas. Now, this was filmed on 42.9, so this is already with the new zomboid spawning mechanic. This could change in the future, right? It's a new way of spawning zomboids, and getting into these locations, at least in the current conditions, they require preparation, patience, and skill. As for the loot options here, well, this is your typical fire station, so expect to find fireman clothes, expect to find firefighter axes, helmets. It also has this large kind of a garage mechanical area for fireman vehicles, so also potentially some, like car equipment, tools, spare parts. Definitely a location worth visiting. When we leave this area and head towards the center of the town, we will pass by two other interesting locations. Those of you that follow me know that I am a huge fan of post offices. There's a post office there, and there's also a gas station on the southern edge of the town, next to this main road that got us here, basically. One of those really interesting things about Ekron is that the main road that leads into the town from the east is actually blocked at the railway crossing by a burned down train, and basically it forces you to go around towards the next railway crossing, because this one is not passable with a car. And for me, it adds this really apocalyptic crisis style vibe to this otherwise pretty regular town. I think it's a nice touch, I like it. When trying to get to the next crossing, we will be passing by the Gnome factory. Yes, you heard me well. Gnome factory. Just like in any other industrial type factory type of building, you're gonna find building materials and some tools inside, but that's not the biggest prize. The biggest prize is obviously David the Gnome, which you will find plenty of inside. If you ever need to decorate your lawn with gnomes, well, basically, if you're not gonna find any nearby, you can always go to the source. You can always go to the factory that actually makes them. It's right here. Once we leave the factory and head north towards an intersection that will actually allow us to pass on the western side of the railroad, we're gonna pass through some residential areas, and I must say that these residential areas in Ekron, they are full of high quality two-story houses and garages. Now those of you that play Zomboid long that know that these types of houses tend to have good quality and good quantity of various different types of loot. Up for grabs, all you gotta do is just take care of the residents, and there are plenty of them. While eastern part of Ekron is known for the community center and the large fire station, and there's also the Gnome factory, and these are all highlights of the east side, the west side also has plenty of things to offer. Specifically the commercial zone of Ekron, which holds several different stores of various speciality, including a medical center and also a pharmacy, so if you're in need of meds, you're very likely to find them there. The commercial zone also has a decently sized parking lot with a high chance of scoring a car in a fairly decent condition. The residential areas of the west side of Ekron are very similar to the ones on the east side, so expect high quality two-story buildings with separate garages, the types of buildings we all like. Some of them even have their own pools. Now I checked on Google Maps and the real life Ekron has no pools at all, but I think it's a nice touch which elevates the quality of this entire town and makes it much more player friendly. And since it's already getting late, we're gonna get some rest and continue our exploration tomorrow. There are several interesting locations in the very vicinity of Ekron, starting with this decently sized cattle farm just at the southern edge of the town. As you guys know, cows are a source of milk, and milk is one of the best types of food one can produce on their own in Build 42. You can turn it into butter, which is a fantastic source of fat and helps to keep your weight in check. This cattle farm also has a couple of warehouses with plenty of crates, but I didn't find anything of value, mostly just rotten food. So I'm not sure how useful this is going to be if you don't get there at the very first day of the game. But still, you can turn it into compost, so that's a win. Ekron also offers several different houses which one can consider to be good locations for a base. Now me personally, I am a huge fan of houses near lakes or ponds, and you have this whole area at the very eastern entrance to the town, but I'm gonna show you a different one which is to the north of Ekron. This one right here is a fairly large two-story farmhouse with an already predefined areas for farming and also some farm animals. There's plenty of storage space, some pre-built farm buildings and a barn. And this has this type of a vibe similar to some of the bases or houses I was showing you when we were discussing Irvington in the previous episode of this series. And just a short walk away from this house there is a fairly large pond, a great place for fishing, securing access to food, doing laundry when the water shuts off. I think in general a really decent place to live. The other alternative is the westernmost house in the entire game. It sits right at the very edge of the map. I mean, if you peek beyond the edge, you will actually see the turtle that keeps this entire map on top of its shell, because that's how the world works, right? There is a turtle, the world is flat, and that's how it works, right? But in all seriousness, this is a really large house, a 2-story house, and the entire area surrounding it is perfect for a permanent location. It does have pre-prepared chicken coops, 2 of them actually, with metal fences so your chickens won't run away. It has tons of space for farming, its very own garage, and several locations decent for different types of animals like pigs or cows. And a small pond, again a walking distance from this place, so pretty much everything you would be looking for, I guess. The downside is it's obviously so far away that, well, you need a car to really make use of it. As you can see on the map that I'm showing right now, the locations that I displayed, they're kind of forming a triangle around Ekron, so depending on the direction at which you're coming from or you're planning to go to, you've got different options. I think it's really convenient spacing for all these different locations. And yeah, you just pick whatever feels good for you. Wrapping things up, I think Ekron is definitely an interesting location. It's definitely not easy, especially in the hot zones like the community center, but it does offer very decent loot options, plenty of residential housing that is full of great stuff, and some really cool places to visit. I never based in Ekron, I did pass through Ekron several times, and I'm curious, do you live in Ekron? If you do, share your experiences. Is it a cool town to live in? Did I miss anything? Or are there things that are worth knowing about Ekron that I did not mention? The comment section is yours. Before we close today's episode, I just want to leave you guys with a little teaser on what's coming up next. There is a topic that was not addressed in the masterclass, something that, as Bilbo Baggins would say,
I've put this off for far too long.
And that is the topic of firearms. Yes, I will do an episode on firearms. I'm probably the last person to talk about firearms, but I will put my crowbar away and get out of my comfort zone and learn how to use them and make a video about it. So stay tuned. If you want to get in touch with me, if you want to stay up to date on what's coming up next on the channel, know the live stream schedule in advance, or just socialize with the community, my Discord is the place to be. The link is in the description of the video. And if you like what I'm doing and want to support me, you can hit a like button or post a comment so YouTube pushes this video to a larger audience. And if you're not subscribed to the channel and want to see more, the red button is there for you to click. That's everything for today, and guys, as always, I'm Gertrix. Cheers!